everyone.
Okay, Professor Benjamin, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay. Wait, did that? Okay. I'm not sure why my, okay, that's fine. Okay. So, all right. So they've started here. What this app does is it has, I'm not sure why I have it frozen. Never mind. It has like about 2,000 question formats. That are sort of randomly generated with the limits between certain numbers. And then we have a multi-operation question generator, which sort of just puts a string of numbers in between certain ranges with a certain amount of operations. So the maximum operations is 10. So they could get on the multi-operation questions, they could get any number of operations between 2 and 10. The numbers could be anywhere between 1 and 999. It sort of just randomly generates those. Now, on Wenzel's screen right now, he has an A divided by B times C question. That's sort of we have what are like competition format questions. We have about 2,000 of those. So all the questions are broken up into either multi-operation or the competition questions.
So let me ask, so I see there's a timer, for example, on
Yes.
Aaryan's screen. So at some point the question just times out and you move on to the next.
You get 30. What just happened?
Uh-oh. One of you has left the meeting.
It'll be back 1 second.
You've joined again.
Yeah, it's that. Okay, so you have
But I only see you.
let me see one. Hold on.
I see them now.
Okay. Oh, it's a little bit frustrating. I have minor technical issues somewhat. Like this was me. It dropped me out of the call for some reason. I'm not particularly sure why. So the timer, 30-second timer, you have maximum 30 seconds to complete the question. You have a maximum of 5 attempts. So if you don't complete the question in 30 seconds, you don't get a point. It just moves on to the next question. As soon as you get it right, you move on to the next question and you get a point. If you answer it 5 times incorrectly in 30 seconds, you have to wait for the timer to expire before you move to the next question.
That makes sense. Sure. You can't just look at a question and say, "There's no way I'm going to be able to do this," and move on to the next question.
Right.
Then people might just deliberately not answer certain questions and say, "Oh, I can't do that."
Yeah, like the one Wenzel has right now. I don't think this is something that's going to be done in 30 seconds here. But
and now, and you can give an answer up to a certain level of accuracy, like a
yeah. So for numbers that are 100 or greater, or negative 100 or smaller, you have to get the nearest integer answer. Between negative 100 and 100, it's 2 significant digits for all answers. So you'll see some of these. They're like the answers will be like 4.6 times 10 to the negative 8, and they have to type in. They always have to type in, the down to 2 significant digits. So they got to get the zeros, and then they got to get the 2, the 4 and the 6 in that case. So, but it is for some of those larger root questions, like that question that Wenzel had. It is probably doable if you're able to really quickly estimate, but it'd be extremely difficult, and you have to be very good at estimating. Okay, so when they're in these matches, they have the goal is to get a 30-point lead. Match ends between 20 and 40 minutes if somebody has a 30-point lead. At 40 minutes, the match ends if somebody has a 10-point lead, and then if nobody manages to get a 10-point lead at any point, sort of the match just ends at 60 minutes. We had a couple matches where they was essentially more or less tied for an hour straight, which was it's very amusing and interesting. But Wenzel is up 29-20 right now.
And they both can see their score, obviously. So
yes, they know what the score is. I think I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them are glancing at it. I think everybody's come to the conclusion that knowing your opponent's score is sort of psychologically damaging, whether you're winning or losing.
Sure.
Yeah, none of us were used to like having the instant feedback on your performance before, but I think Wenzel, I know, is certainly not looking at the score and will not know what the score is until the match ends.
Well, he's off to a great start. He's up 10 points, 11 points already, 10 points.
Yeah.
And at pace, we could see a very short match, right?
Yeah, we are past 6 minutes. So yes, I wouldn't.
We might see a 10-minute knockout.
Well, so the minimum time is 20.
Oh, the minimum time is 20. Okay.
And he is right now really close to that 20-minute margin. These kind of questions he's doing right now, he is very, very good at it. I think part of the reason he has his factors memorized up to quite a large number, so he can like immediately factor 3-digit numbers and I think some 4-digit numbers, I assume. So when we have these multi-operation questions with numbers on both sides, he's pretty good at reducing them almost immediately. Yeah,
So when I see a problem like 782 cubed over 443, he has to give the answer to how many decimal places?
Just the nearest integer.
Nearest integer, okay.
Yes. So anything over 100 is just the nearest integer.
Now, do you think any of them are using logarithms? Because that could be a...
That's a good question. I don't think these two are. We had competitors in our league who were, and I'm going to add in more questions for our next season that require sort of the use of logarithms to be competitive. I think some of the younger, I'm not sure that Aaryan might be too young to understand how to do that.
I'm sure he's quite capable of learning how to do it.
Yeah, he's certainly quite capable of learning, but it's sort of, yeah, it's probably not something it's come up in sort of the competitions he's done. So we're back down to 10. So
I'm looking at a problem like the I'm sort of surprised that Aaryan's taking a while on what it looks like a problem that just involves 1-digit numbers.
I'm not sure if he mistyped it 5 times.
Oh no! Wow.
I don't know.
That would be a real frustrating experience because you can get
right. And you can see now that he just went through 2 questions that are much more difficult very, very quickly.
Right. Now he's right. So he's looking at that same cubing problem over 443, which again, it seems if you use logarithms, that would be ideally suited for that sort of question.
Yeah.
Now, when I see a question, on the other hand, the one that Wenzel's facing, can anyone do that? I mean, that sort of problem. And if not,
yeah,
why are they even in there?
Yes, yes. Some people. I'm surprised that he is not attempting it. I think we'll watch when Aaryan gets there, he should be able to do it. I think I can do that question.
Nice.
But that being said, cross multiplication is probably what I'm best at. But you would just.
Well, I don't mean the cross multiplication. I meant the one before that involved sixth
Sorry.
root of this plus the sixth root of that. Struck me as, now I realize that a lot of times when you're doing these root problems, like the leading digits, almost the trailing digits almost don't matter. Like you could throw away, other than the magnitude of the answer, you could throw away the right half of those numbers and you'll still have the answer to the nearest integer. And these are not perfect cubes or perfect sixths. They are you can't just look at the last digits and figure out or do anything like a casting out nines to
I will admit though, our root questions, they're not some of them.
So I look at the one that Aaryan's facing now, like WTF is all I want to say.
Yeah, see, I think we haven't seen questions like this. I think Aaryan is capable of doing this question if he with practice, because like I said, the actual addition of those numbers, he should be able to do that with almost immediately. Now he can we in our World Cup we do the square root of 6-digit numbers to 5 decimal places, and he is able to do them in about 4 to 5 seconds per question to 5 decimal places. So between that addition, like it's a new format that we're not used to, but it's something that he potentially could be done. And also our third place competitor, who's Eastern European, is extremely good at solving root questions. And part of some of the root questions, I kind of just wanted to see whether he would be able to do them. But there are some of them are quite very difficult. And they have a very similar type of same format on the screen right now. So we're still at 10. Aaryan has held it to 10.
And now I'm not even seeing sometimes the answer being typed in. Are they just typing it in so quickly that I can't?
It is the internet delay. I think for Aaryan specifically, because he's in India and he's using like a lower speed internet connection, it happens pretty often. For Wenzel, you should usually be able to see it.
Right. Like I saw his complete 3-digit answer. And 5-digit answer.
Yeah. Aaryan there's a little bit, a fraction of a second of buffering that happens often. Okay, so then he got that question. So Wenzel just answered the 4th root of a number plus the 6th root of a number minus the 7th root of a number. I think.
Wow, that's amazing. Again, now all of those could have been integers. Right, the answer was an integer, right?
Yes, his answer was an integer answer.
So in a sense, what that amounted to in the end was adding and subtracting some 3-digit numbers. I mean, once you had the numbers, the challenge was to remember the 4th root answer and remember the 6th root, add them, then remember the 7th root answer. And so knowing that they're just to the nearest integer would help a little bit. Okay, so here he's got a square root minus a cube root.
Yeah.
So the square root, he's going to get to an integer, and then minus a cube root, he'll get to another integer. And the fact that you can guess up to 5 times, if you're off by 1, you could add 1 or subtract 1 to the answer to hopefully get it right there. Okay.
And he did get it.
So now I'm looking at Aaryan's 4th root minus 6th root plus 7th root. But again, like
Yeah.
2405, the 7th power. So he has an answer like he has 8. Okay, now he's saying 8.
Yeah, so he's got to get the 2 significant. So it's got to be 8 point something. This is the one Wenzel just answered correctly. I'm not sure if he's going to get it. Yeah, he
There's
didn't
no
get it.
harm in guessing there, right?
There's no harm in guessing. Yeah.
So once again, you're saying that if the answer is between, did you say -10 and 10, it has to be to 2 digits of accuracy?
Yes. The decimal has to be.
You have
Two
to have
signi-
2 significant figures.
Yes.
Whereas in if the answer had an absolute value above 100, then you only need the nearest integer.
Right. I mean, yeah. Yes. Okay. So Aaryan has that same question that Wenzel did before. And let's see. He's not getting it. He's attempting it, but it wasn't correct.
So he's got a square root minus a cube root. 8484 he tried.
No.
Did he get it?
No, he didn't get it.
Hmm.
The cube roots are tough. I'm not particularly good at cube roots myself.
Again, logarithms might
Yeah.
change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, there would be a tremendous cost in memorizing the log table to I don't know how many digits of accuracy you would need.
Right.
4 digits.
So Wenzel, part of his skill here is these A times B times C times D, or he makes minimal use of cross multiplication. So I think until recently, he used to multiply 8-digit numbers together without using cross multiplication. He would just, multiply 8 digits by 1 digit, and then the next digit, and then the next digit. He has his maybe, I mean, he's a talent. He's got an extraordinary talent in a variety of ways. But maybe the thing that's most unusual is he seems to have the visualization better than like the abacus trained competitors without having abacus training, and which is something the abacus trained competitors are typically so much better at visualizing the numbers and working with large numbers, keeping things in their head. But Wenzel's his working memory seems it just seems
Limitless.
extraordinary. Like it
But of course, even if you and I'll speak for myself, I had something to write down. I mean, these problems would be just impossible.
Yeah. Okay. He's got a very difficult question right here. Yeah, a 7-digit number divided by a 5-digit number squared. It's doable, but that's very difficult.
And then again, that answer would have to be to how many
just the nearest integer.
Just the nearest integer. Okay.
Yeah, he tried, but I don't think he didn't get it. Okay, so we're up to 19. We're getting close to 20 minutes.
Ooh, wow. As you said, it probably doesn't pay to look at your score. It's like running a race. You don't want to spend too much time looking backwards.
Right.
It's not going to help. Now I see a 20-point lead.
Yep.
And we are how many minutes in?
We are getting close to 20 minutes. So Wenzel has to get it to 30. I'm
sorry. So a 30-point lead
yes.
will once you're past the 20-minute mark, ends the match.
Yes.
Now that said, how many problems behind is Aaryan? I mean, it looks like he's not that far behind in terms of problems.
That is true. It's less than 20. I'm not sure. And he did. I mean, he sort of at the beginning he didn't seem to have the same level of focus. Like he fell behind pretty quickly right away, and then he stayed at the same point for a while. These Wenzel has. I like these questions, taking the average of 5 9-digit numbers here. See, that's not his. Oh, he got it. He got it.
Do you think he literally added them and then divided it? Well, it's just, of course, doubling it and then dividing by 10 is probably what he did.
I don't know what he was doing. Like what I do for them is I'm just adding from left to right. I'm going to do 2 columns at a time, divided by average out each column. Like, so add, and then, yeah, I don't, some of the competitors, like I think Aaryan is going to do it how you said, because he trusts his memory more than I trust mine. But I'm going to break it down and do the 2 columns and then divide it.
And that would allow you to start typing your answer in
right
way,
right,
which helps you. That in this format, that would be useful.
And yes, I mean, I do have to be, it could round up or round down. I have to make a brief effort to look at the next 2 columns, but I don't, yeah.
And as far as writing your answer, the etiquette of writing your answer, it's okay whether you're writing the answer from left to right or from right to left.
Yeah, and this button you see on the on the left of their answer box, it says toggle text direction, so they can click the button and type from right to left.
Because I think I've seen that. I think in Aaryan's case, I think I've seen some numbers go from right to left.
Yeah.
Wenzel, it's hard to say what direction he's doing it. It just goes so fast.
Yeah, he's up to 25.
What undoubtedly both of these if you had the same timing and lead formats in previous matches, I suspect both of these people had a lot of 20-minute matches.
Yeah, so our regular season matches were actually shorter. Wenzel, the only match all season he's been past the minimum time are his 2 matches with Aaryan. Everybody else he beat in minimum time, and he's about to win right now. He's at 29. Ooh, I don't know if that's a very tough question. So Aaryan might get it. Yeah, so regular season questions were a little bit easier. We have it broken down in different difficulty categories. But when he played me, he got 126 in 10 minutes, which was
I know, astonishing. And to Sam, to astonish you is pretty astonishing. So we're down to 28 point difference.
29. Yeah, Wenzel, I think it's gonna get it right here.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Well, both of these 2 people are just so astonishing. Look at that.
23, 24 Minuten.